evening, here's top news newsletter starting with headlines. Kobani is free from ISIS terrorists. Lavrov could meet with both sides of Moscow forum on Syria. Fidel Castro supports diplomatic talks with US despite misgivings. Starting with Syrian view, tens of the so-called ISIS were killed in the operation carried out by Syrian army and national defense forces after infiltrating into their sites in the village of Jufra, near the military airport of Deir ez-Zor. Moreover, the army has controlled the area stretching towards 1 kilometer square of Deir ez-Zor military airport in a move that aims at expanding the safe area of the airport. Pro-armed groups' websites admitted that the army soldier deceived ISIS gunmen in the perimeter of Deir ez-Zor airport and swept into one of their positions, killing more than 14 terrorists after playing a trick on them by wearing Afghan uniforms. Syria was hit by violent unrest since mid-March 2011, where the USA, Turkey and Saudi Arabia are accused of outreaching the conflict in the country and providing terrorist groups with money, weapons and trained mercenaries. In 2011, Syrian army launched a wide-scale operation against armed groups who started to escape the army plows and infiltrate illegally to Lebanon. From Deir ez-Zor to Kobani, where locals of the Syrian northern city of Ain al-Arab dismissed terrorists of the so-called ISIS and established full control on the city. Local sources reported that defenders in the city established control on Ain al-Arab region after expelling the ISIS terrorists and forcing them to flee into the city's eastern countryside. There is no presence to any terrorists in the city, while the defenders started a process of combining. Locals of Ain al-Arab established full control on 2 villages yesterday in the surrounding of the city after inflicting the terrorists heavy losses. Ain al-Arab city has been witnessing fierce clashes since last September between the locals and ISIS terrorists who had attacked the city to dominate it, and hundreds of terrorists have been killed during the clashes. Politically, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the meetings on the crisis in Syria aim at providing an avenue for discussion among all Syrian sides, noting that the participating parties agree on the necessity of establishing peace and combating terrorism in Syria. Lavrov said that the inter-Syrian meetings, which are held in Moscow with the participation of representatives of the various opposition factions, are not talks, as this meeting seeks to provide an avenue and forum for discussion with a representative in the Syrian government, who will join the meetings with the goal of establishing direct contact. He added that there are no set tasks or goals for his meeting, rather it's merely an effort to reinvigorate dialogue without conditions, to pave the way toward resolving the crisis in Syria. Bogdanov, who is the Russian President's special representative for the Middle East and Africa affairs, told journalists in the Russian capital that if all participants invited to the forum on both sides come to meet together and there are constructive talks, then a meetings with the foreign minister could be planned. He pointed out that 28 representatives of the opposition have arrived in Moscow so far, and those have already started consultations. In Yemen, the U.S. Embassy in Yemen's capital Sana'a was closed to the public over security concerns aimed turmoil in the Arabian Peninsula state. The embassy will resume consular operations as soon as our analysis indicate we are able to do so safely. It said in a statement. On January 22, Yemeni President Hadi submitted a resignation letter to the parliament under pressure from advancing Houthis. A message reported to be from retired Cuban leader Fidel Castro late Monday endorsed the fledgling talks to restore diplomatic relations with Cuba and United States, but added Castro still didn't trust U.S. officials. In a letter published on the website of Communist Party newspaper Granma, Castro said that although he didn't trust U.S. policies and have not exchanged a word with them, this doesn't mean, however, that I would oppose a peaceful solution to conflict threats of war. Last month, Cuba and the United States exchanged prisoners and agreed to discuss normalizing relations that had been trapped in over 5 decades of Cold War animosity. While the U.S. economic trade embargo remains in place, President Barack Obama announced he would lift some sanctions and ease travel restrictions from U.S. citizens wishing to visit the island. Despite the major shift in policy, for over a month, Castro made no public comment on the deal, reigniting rumors that the 88-year-old former Cuban leader was in failing health. That was all for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nibal Hnaidi. Good night.